Hi guys, Ali Duzette here. It is October. Notice my new October decorations. We're so thankful. That's what it says. It looks backwards on my screen, but it says thankful. So our little Halloween decorations over here are mostly gratitude ones. It's kind of like early Thanksgiving over here, but I love it. Okay, we need to talk about what's going on in October. And the most important thing that you need to know is that we are having an eclipse portal in just 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today on October 14th. Our two eclipses are October 14th and October 28th. Remember, you can never have just one eclipse. You can only have two eclipses or sometimes three because of how the sun and the moon are working together. So this is the big picture overview, okay? Every time, okay, so let's talk about what these things represent in our spirits. Okay, so the sun represents your core sense of self. The moon represents kind of like your feelings, the way that you perceive the world on the inside of yourself. And so when you have an eclipse, what's happening on a spiritual level for everybody in the whole world? This is so cool. Okay, when you have a solar eclipse, what's happening is you have the earth and the sun, and the moon goes around and covers up the sun. So in between the earth and the sun, there's a disruption. Okay, the moon comes right between, and the connection is disrupted. And that is what makes the eclipse. Okay, when that disruption takes place, it resets every single person on the planet's body connection with their sense of self. Okay, so when we have this eclipse, everyone in the whole world is getting a full body reset. Okay, and this is true for all solar eclipses. That is always true. And so we have, between 2 and 5 solar eclipses every year. And so having an eclipse is in and of itself like not so unusual. And you have lived through many of them. And what I always say is if you actually pulled up a list of all the eclipses that you have ever lived through, and then a list of all the events that have ever happened in your life, you would find a lot of overlap. People, don't usually track eclipses. Like in the modern age, we don't view them as that significant, but it is really true that people have a lot of spiritual growth during those 2 weeks between eclipses. They just really do, because we're all having this total body reset. And then with a lunar eclipse, we have the earth right between the sun and the moon. Okay, so that the moon cannot reflect the light of the sun because the earth is in the way, right? So that is what's happening. But that means that once again, that link between the sun and the moon is disrupted in your own spirit. It's like the link between your brain and your heart is reset. So this is just a very, very powerful window where we get to totally reset ourselves if we want to. This is a powerful time for spiritual growth. And I'm just super excited about it. Every time there's an eclipse portal, I'm so excited about it. I feel like these are they remind me of the hands on a clock, or like not the hands on a clock, but like my kid smashed my clock over here. So I can't use that as an example. I forgot. They threw a ball at it, and they got glass everywhere. It was great. Okay. But rather the face of the clock. Okay. Kind of each of these eclipses, it's like a new hour is starting. And so we kind of are having this new hour starting, and it's really fun. And we get to do a lot of internal renovation of ourselves. And this exact eclipse is very exciting because it is the first eclipse in a brand new cycle of eclipses. Every eclipse falls along what's called the nodal path, which is a mathematical calculation based on the movement of the moon. And for the past 18 months, the nodal path has been from Scorpio to Taurus, which has been inviting us to have really big resets around issues of resources, money, assets, secrets, the hidden things that we don't want people to know. What inside of us is a secret? What do we want out in the open? And we've kind of wrapped that up over the summer. And now we're into a new and interesting different phase, which is the Libra to Aries axis. I know for people not into all of that mumbo jumbo, it sounds like crazy, like you don't even know what I'm saying. Here's the important thing for you to understand. For the next 18 months, every single human on this whole planet has one mission, which is to learn how to find a healthy balance between our relationships and ourselves? How do we prioritize the other people in our lives and prioritize ourselves? And the real focus of this journey is to learn how to take care of ourselves, how to put ourselves first. So in a healthy way, I'll say in a healthy way. Kind of putting ourselves first in the way that you put on the oxygen mask on yourself first on the airplane, right? Not putting yourself first, like going on a rampage and ruining everybody else's lives because it's all about you. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how do we put ourselves first? How do we put the oxygen mask on myself first? So that then I can go and be a light in my relationships also. Okay. That is the enlightened look at the trajectory here, but it's really interesting. And I've talked about it a lot in this channel in the past. If you go look at some of my older videos, I've been interested to see what this will look like on a global level and on a national level, because this exact nodal path going away from Libra and to Aries has us moving away from sweeping things under the rug to keep everybody happy, and moves us towards being willing to stand up for ourselves no matter what other people say about it. Which, as you can see, there's like a lot of good to do with that. It is really emotionally damaging to constantly put aside your own needs for other people. Like, that is not sustainable. But Aries is really famous for being a little bit contentious. Aries never shies away from a fight. Aries is ready for the battlefield. Aries was born ready for that. And everyone in the whole world is heading in the direction of Aries. Now, these cycles go on an 18-year track, okay? So if you're over 18, you've already seen this Libra to Aries cycle before. I just want to caution that, because as I've been looking at global events and the movements of the planets, I've looked at everything and I'm just like, the trajectory of, shall we say, CIVILWAR for, so that we don't get this video, under too much scrutiny. I feel like we are headed in that direction. The Pluto return of 2022, which I did a lot of videos about, indicates that we are going to see some of that action within the next 12 years, but it is probably going to take a full 12 years to have everything fall into place for the kind of restructuring on a global and governmental level that I'm looking at. I hope this is making sense. We are looking at some massive overhaul on a governmental level and on a societal level. Is it tomorrow? I don't think so. I don't think it's this month. But I do think that in the next, well, at this point, 10 years, we're going to see some pretty big upheaval. And this eclipse portal is here to help us prepare for that. It's here to help everybody prepare for that. And so that is really exciting. And that is what we're going to be working on every day for the next 14 days until the eclipse on October 14th. And then we will have that 2-week window where everybody in the whole world has this massive chance to up level. So when we have this eclipse portal, we have that one reset on the one side, another reset on the other side. That window in between, that 2 weeks, here's the deal. This happens organically. Whether you are aware of it or not, everyone that you know in this whole entire world is going to have situations show up organically that invite them to do a lot of spiritual healing. This happens for everybody. I always think back to this time that I got into this huge fight with my best friend. And I remember I was just starting to study the role of eclipses and planetary movement in the context of the Holy Scriptures and like heavenly revelation and end times and the economy. And I was just kind of putting it all together. And I just thought, what are the odds that this fight would happen during an eclipse? And it literally did. Like, the apex of our fight took place like as the moon was being eclipsed that night. And I was like, oh, what are the odds? Well, actually, the odds are like pretty high. Okay. The odds are high that during eclipses and during that 2-week window between eclipses, you are going to have situations just show up by surprise that invite you to do some serious inner work. Again, whether you realize it consciously or not. And this has happened to you many times before, and you just didn't even realize it. The special thing about this month is that now you realize it. So we have this opportunity to do some big spiritual overhaul, big spiritual renovation. And I am totally psyched about it. I think that we're going to see some really big miracles. The great thing about being conscious about this stuff is that it's not a surprise anymore. You don't have to sit there and be like, why me? What have I done to deserve this? Well, guess what? What did you do to deserve this? You became a human being. You chose to come to this earth and have a body and do your mortal experience. And that was what it took, was signing on the dotted line. That is what got you into this mess. And now that you know that, now you can use your agency, use your consciousness to understand what's going on, work with it instead of against it. Use this massive influx of energy to propel yourself forward instead of drowning in it. Think of this like a big tsunami. You are the surfer. Other people are going to be drowning in this mess. And you do not have to do that because you have the surfboard and I'm giving it to you. Here it is. The surfboard is called the knowledge of what is going on. What is going on? The entire world, everything in it is coming together right now to provide exactly the situations that you need in your life to trigger you up, to make you heal, to do the work, to get your healing done so that you can kind of graduate to the next level, whatever that is for you. I don't want to, I as I'm saying it, I'm like, this does sound kind of like weirdo, but all I just mean is that everything in life is kind of leveled out. I mean, like, there's this book that I'm thinking of. It's by a guy called Athol Kay. I can't remember the name of the book now. It's called MAP. I can't remember, but in that book, he talks about how we're all moving along in these different levels. We're like, you're broke and you're overweight and your car is breaking down and you can't afford gas. And like the next level is that you're taking better care of your body. You are making a little bit more money and your car is in a little bit better condition and you're not feeling so stressed about the gas anymore. And like you move up in these levels. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the normal life levels that we all go through. Are you ready to go to the next level? Are you ready to go to the next level of being healthier, being wealthier, being happier, having better relationships? That is what this is all about. I really believe that we live in a benevolent universe run by a benevolent creator who is working really hard to make sure that all of us are getting exactly what we need so that we can realize what we need to change about ourselves to experience those next level things. I believe that God wants us to be happy. And I believe that when we are not happy, usually it's because of ourselves. Okay. I just had this big conversation with a friend about this today, about how the only problems you can really have are problems that you create with your own mind. Because if you don't see something as a problem, then it's not a problem for you. And she used this example of ants and how, like ants bother some people and ants don't bother other people. And I thought of a few years ago, I went and spent a few weeks in Samoa with my grandparents, and my beautiful grandma lost her mind about all the ants everywhere because you can't escape them. They are going to be absolutely everywhere. Ants everywhere. Okay. And she lost her mind. She was so upset about it. She used up like all my essential oils trying to kill all the ants in her bathroom, but like guess what, you can't win a fight against ants in Samoa. That doesn't make sense. You will never win. You will always lose that fight. My grandpa, on the other hand, we came home and there was ants all over the counter eating just like the crumbs of all the food that we had out, and like trying to figure out how to get into like the chip bag and stuff like that. And he said you can't win a fight against ants in Samoa. They're not exactly an economic problem. And then he winked at me and I just thought, you know what, you're right. They're not an economic problem. Like, it's fine. I can coexist with ants. And I love that story because it's just such a clear example of how your mindset changes the nature of your problems. If you don't view something as a problem, it's not a problem for you. So what are the problems in your life right now? And why are they problems to you? Why do you react to them the way that you react to them? All of this is going to come back to what is going on in your own mind. And so what's happening with this eclipse portal is God and everything in this amazing universe that he created is showing up for us to help us identify the beliefs and the emotions and the past events that are contributing to our perception of these problems. We have this big opportunity to recognize where we are causing our own problems and how to fix those problems. And this 2-week period, this 2-week window, is this time of accelerated growth and learning where we get to use our agency, use our consciousness, use our abilities of pattern recognition to notice what's going on, make some changes within ourselves, and then see it all shift for us. And things can happen really fast. Maybe somebody who's done some of my eclipse portal work before will comment below. Things can change real fast during an eclipse portal. Like, you don't even know how fast things can change. They really can. You can see absolute miracles. And I don't know. I think that's how God set it up. I think it all comes down to how the planets interact with our bodies. And I'm talking about like gravitational pull. You know, you see the moon is controlling the tides with this gravitational pull, but all of these planets are enormous and they are all exerting very minute and subtle gravitational pulls on our own water. That would be your actual blood, okay? Your lymphatic system. These things within yourself are intricately tied to the movement of the planet. So that is what I have concluded after many years of research into this. And I believe that God designed it that way. For people that freak out about like astrology and Christianity, I've done a bunch of videos about that you can check out on my channel. But that is really the crux of it. Why can't we accept that God created the universe, God created the planets, God created the planets as a clock for us? We look at the Bible and see like God put that star in the sky for Jesus's birth. And like, do we think that he stopped doing that? Do we think that all of a sudden planetary motion doesn't matter anymore because Jesus was born? Jesus is gonna come back. So like, wouldn't the stars indicate that as well? And so that's like kind of the work that I do here. You see my little girl's top of her head. Hello. But over the next 2 weeks, we're going to dig in and we are going to have a good time and we are going to heal our lives and we are going to see big changes. Okay, I need to go, but I love you so much. Thank you for being here. If you're new around here, come and hang out on Facebook, Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette. We will love to hang out with you. You will make so many new friends and I can't even wait for you to join our community. We help each other heal. We heal ourselves. We make the world a better place and it is fantastic. So thank you for being here and I'm going to see you tomorrow. We're going to get a lot of good stuff done.